Today is the saddest day of my life. It's sadder than the day my brother died. Because I was upset then, but now I understand his death. I understand why he was sad and didn't want to live himself, and why he permitted himself to get sick and not do anything about it. And strangely enough, it's reflected in the two cherubim on the ark and that guard the entrance to Garden of Eden. Quite frankly, nobody cares about the sexuality of the two cherubim but me. No one cares that they're lesbian or gay or transsexual. And it's a little bit highfalutin when you think of it, to even do a video about this. And it's strange. Today is the first day I'm actually into my godly soul. There are two parts of a person, just like there are two cherubim. And these two cherubim, they play different roles. They look the same, but they're really different roles. And that's because there are actually two souls in the body. There's an animal soul and a godly soul. It's like a centaur or whatever those things are, like a mermaid. The lower half of the body is the animal soul. This animal soul eats and kind of like enjoyment, anything from the genitals and the stomach, anything from the belly button, the anal. And that's the animal soul. And I think that has the will to live. The animal soul, there are two wills. There's the will to live, which is the animal soul. And that will to live is for like enjoyments, pleasures. And then there's the godly soul, which is above the waist, above the garter, so to speak, what people wear for prayer. There's two parts. There's the man, so to speak, what they call the medaber, the speaker, and then there's the animal. And in the godly soul, I think the godly soul emanates or moves or whatever upward, has a desire for godliness and heaven, where the animal soul has a desire for earth, eretz. And this division of two-ness into two-ness is this heaven and earth, God and man, so to speak. God and animal, man and animal, that you see. And this division is also made in these cherubims, where you have to have a distinction of shenayim, it's not shenay, it's not that the two are one, it's that there are two of them. There has to be a distinction, so there's a tension in between, and that tension in between is Hashem that speaks to you above the wings of the cherubim. And you need that tension of two-ness, and that's where I can't get the animal part of man. I just got off the phone. I've been having problems with contact lenses and this and that, and I got recommended to an eye doctor, and they want $500 for the visit for the contact lens. So I'm not part of that world. I'm not part of the business world I'm not a businessman. I don't like business relations with people. I like godly relations. And so there's a division, a two-ness. And to be perfect, you have to have both. I'm not saying no. That's why I'm not perfect. You know? I can't handle the businessman. I don't want to be a businessman and look upon people as money. I think that's the way women look upon men anyway, what they can get out of them. See? Because, and that's true. The man is the Hashamayim, the godly aspect, and the woman is the physical aspect, the Eretz. You know, Haaretz model. And so there's a money and a physicality that's involved there in the woman. And that is, that's calling a spade here. That's the real. And that's been put there, and that's why the cherubim are male and female. And that's why Shia HaShirim is spoken of as like male and female. And there has to be this dynamic tension because that's what makes the perpetuation. But if one really lives in the godly soul, I think there's a death instinct in the godly soul. I think what I call the will to lose is actually the godly soul. No wonder nobody's interested in the will to lose in society. You see? Because the will to lose is of the godly soul, and it's what Freud used to say is a return to homeostasis. That's the death instinct. This death instinct is considered higher than the life instincts. The negative thinking is higher than the positive thinking, but the negative thinking, and all my stuff of returning to zero and having nothing and being nothing, is fine, but it's not for this world. So quite frankly, all my videos, they're beautiful, they're very high. They're not for this world. They're really not. You see. You know, I'm doing videos of such a high level, how could I be sad? Somebody asked me about like community. Community is not something that I look for. As you go up the pyramid, you go, the top of the pyramid is very small. It filters down into community, but I'm not really interested in going on like a parade for Israel Independence Day. Me personally, I'm not really interested in being part of a synagogue. I know the way people look at other people. They look at what they can get out of them. If you think I'm a little raw here or harsh, I'm not. You know? It's a natural tendency of the animal soul to feel that way. That when you hear a situation, you see what you are best, how it can benefit you in that situation. That's the animal soul. But the godly soul, which I possess, doesn't have that valence, that point of focus. The godly soul wants to extinguish itself. The only time a high-level person wants to come down into the community is to, when they say, oh, benefit the community. There's no benefit to the community. Just like these videos don't benefit you. Find it yourself. Do you really need me to tell you about your sexuality and where you lie in the LGBTQA or 2AA plus, you know how many letters there are? With all these letters, you can find yourself. You know what gets you excited. You know? Remember that the animal soul is below the waist. So there are two souls here. There are two. There's the, the gut. The stomach has its own brain. They call it the stomach brain or the gut brain. Has its own brain, its own taste for food, own desire. And the same thing, when a man knows what excites him, what fetishes he has, what causes an erection. It's not from the intellect. It's not from the heart even. It's from the gut and the balls. And the vagina. So you are two people. You are the two cherubims. You're an above and below. See? These two cherubims aren't one. These two souls aren't one. You have your two-ness in you. That's part of the point of the cherubims. So you can see that I'm sad. That's why I do these videos, There's a level beyond voice in videos because you can see, I don't want to be part of a community. I don't want somebody to say to me, Rabbi! I don't want my own synagogue. Have to worry about Purim for children. No. There's something else, and that something else is the missing. That's the plus, by the way. That's what you call petit object A, in Lacanian thought. That's the en plus. That's the thing beyond definition. That increment, that unknown increment. And so whatever you do, and not you, whatever I do, I will never discover that increment. And that's why people live their life and then die unhappy, waiting for Godot or waiting for the dough. Waiting for the Mashiach, which never comes in your lifetime. And in the same way, we incorrectly started Israel, before the time of the Mashiach. The Christian religion is just that. They took their Mashiach too early. See? They don't understand the delay process. They don't understand the diaspora process of emptiness of the godly soul, rather than feeling the comforts of the animal soul. May I give you another pillow? Are your sheets pressed? Are you enjoying your food? That's the whole idea of hospitals. You know, there was a hospital, I've said this a few years ago, there's a hospital in California, they very famous because they had each room with a very beautiful view, and they used to clean the sheets every day and give the people wonderful food. And that was part of the cure, you see. These two souls in the body are actually, they're not one, they're two souls. And you are two people, like you are the two cherubims. You, me, I am two cherubims, divided into male and female. And as a male, I project my female into another, and that's why I take a female, or project into a female. But this is a ruse. It's a ruse. You know my favorite ruse, by the way? Charlotte Russe. I love Charlotte Russe. So all these things fold into the saddest day of my life. And as I talk it out, and which is the purpose of these videos, this is my analysis, so to speak. This is my hitbodedot, so to speak. This is my Lacanian short session, so to speak. This is my medaber, my verbalization of my internal quandary, or just speaking in general. And I speak to a mirror image, because this is a mirror image, which is no different than the two cherubim. This is not one. The two isn't one, there's two. There's me and my mirror image. That mirror image, that projection, so they call it female. But this whole concept of two-ness or oneness, that's what has to be analyzed. And so in the past few days, I've been keeping these about 20 minutes. So it looks like that's my short session. It's longer than the 12-minute short session of the old Lacanian. Or even shorter sessions, I think, for appropriate for videos. But I feel better after 20 minutes of my saddest day of my life. And I'm keep going on. But it's a coping with a deep sadness that's existential.